Hi, I'm Luca, and I'm going to be doing my V&A presentation. Um, Rich Rules, The City Rich Rules, that's the title, from 1980 to 2030. Our inspiration for our design uh, was coming off this guy called Walter Crane. Now, Walter Crane was sort of an old times illustrator who did those sort of um, fairy tale, grim tale illustrations, and looks very. It looks in because associated with fairy tales. We thought it would be a good idea because it looked innocent, and we thought it would go with that. And we saw some of his work and really liked what we saw, so we decided to use him. And the other inspirations were um, Eden Byton and Grimm's fairy tales, and the Shrek story theme. You know, Shrek from DreamWorks. Um, our fonts that we're going to be using are called Harrington and Zellman. Harrington is the sort of no, Zellman is the big first letter you normally get in a fairy tale book. I think it's called uh, something capital. I can't quite remember, but it's the big letter that right here that is in front of the whole sentence and starts off the whole story on each page. And then the Harrington is what we would use for the rest of the text, and we would normally use it about size 8, normal weight font. The reason we chose it was because it was very fairy tale looking, and because it's a serif, it's quite easy to read, and it does look like a storybook font that you would see. For the branding, we got the normal V&A logo, and we've basically done what you do on the first big capital letter of the book. You illustrate it around it with all flowers and whatnot they ever use, like Zellman, and that is how we're going to display the logo. Is in the style of a fairy tale capital letter. The color scheme is going to be here, and we've chosen these colors because they're nice, they're easy to the eye, they're not very harsh. And we see we've got all the CMYK measurements, and these are just it's just easy to read. It's pleasant to watch, to view in your eyes, and yeah, we just really like these colours. We thought they go well together, and yeah, that's why we're using these colours here. For the poster, our main poster, we're going to be having a maid hanging up money, but like what would be normally seen as her hanging up clothes, it would be money. So the idea would be getting across that she's washed this dirty money that this banker has, and she'll be hanging it up like she's been cleaning it. And also, she would be wearing normally people with that in that sort of era, the style of drawing, like in the fairy tales, they'll be wearing some sort of dress, robes sort of thing. And on the dress, we were going to put pound signs on the skirt and on her dress and everything. And we were going to have the caption. So the maid was in the garden hanging out the banker's money, and then and then also sort of the whole point of all the uh, products we're going to be using. We're going to be trying to make the viewer think, what's the moral of the story? Because it's a fairy tale. Fairy tales normally have morals to them. And that's why at the bottom it says, what's the moral to the story? She thought. So she's thinking, why am I hanging up this banker's dirty money? Why is it dirty? And so forth. And then and then we have the tube poster. The tube poster is it's quite small. It's only 609 millimeters by 280 millimeters, and it's going to be the banker was enjoying himself peacefully. No, the banker was in the bathroom enjoying peaceful time to himself. And it's going to be see a keyhole and looking into the banker's bathroom. And what you would see is just over the top stuff. So you got toilet roll money, diamond patterned floor, gold towels. You get the point. This person's very rich. And then, it just signifies that this person has a lot of money. And then we're going to have the V&A logo in gold, in gold in the corner of the poster, because that signifies a lot of wealth. So yeah, and then when we actually have to put this poster up, it's going to have a 3mm bleed, and it's going to have 300 dots per inch, so it'll be the maximum resolution for what it's needed for. The flyer is going to be a folded flyer, and it's going to have a pop out, but not just like a big pop out, only a minor pop out. And basically, it's going to have a cutout of a person, and it says the banker was relaxing in his city penthouse. And then when you see it, the person's going to be cut out. And what we're trying to say here is that the banker could be anybody. You don't know who the banker is. So just because he's a banker doesn't mean he lives that life. Because he's a banker, loads of people live different lives, and that's what we're trying to get across. And first of all, we were trying to say, is it the banker? Is it not a banker? But then we had to associate it. So you mean it is a banker, but we try and get the message across that it could be anybody, not just a banker. And on this one, we also need to have a 3mm bleed with a 300 dots per inch and with an A5 piece of paper. For the ticket, it has to be A6 ticket with another 3mm bleed and 300 dots per inch. And what we were going to do is going to do like an old times ball invitation, like, the ball. We were going to do an old-fashioned invitation like that. So the actual ticket was going to be inside an envelope, and the envelope would want to have one of those wax stamps, seals on them. And that's what we thought that was a good idea, because it's olden times, it's quite innocent, everyone likes the ball. And we were going to obviously incorporate the V&A logo on it. And yeah, that's what the ticket is going to be like, very innocent. Now the guerrilla campaign is going to be a huge door, like a really, really, really big door, 12 foot, 10 foot, in the middle of the street, any street, or as long as the street's big enough. You can't open this door, but the way the door works is that it's going to be a keyhole about eyes height, so people can look into the keyhole. And what they're going to see is associated with the tube poster, looking into the banker's house, the banker's life, and see what they see. Yeah, so it's going to be a really, really big door. And the message we're trying to get across is trying to say, whose house are you looking into? And trying to get across that it is a banker's house, and that's what they would have, like, looking into their lives, and is it fair that they have what you're seeing? And yeah, that's the guerrilla campaign. And at the end, to actually make everything, we're going to use this website called WeTransfer, which is a website that allows people to send up to 2 gigs in one email, or 10 gigs if you sign up for like a WeTransfer Plus. It's a fast way to send big files from one place to another and lots of professionals use it. So